Business ownership has never been hotter, but how do you do it? That's where I come in. Allow me to guide you on your journey. Welcome to Ion Franchise. Hello and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Ion Franchising. And you know me, your host, Lance Gralick. Well, the gentlemen today, let me tell you, they're not chicken, but let me tell you how hot chicken is. Most of you know that chicken is one of the hottest, if not the hottest segment of the franchise world today. And I have a hot concept. Now listen in, listen up. This is a concept just launching their franchise system, but they're not new. They're new to maybe 49 states, but they're in Louisiana. They're killing it. Their top 1/3 of corporate stores did $3.9 million in revenue last year. Amazing. So welcome to the show. I got Chief Development Officer Alex Fanning. I got Tom Gerdes, VP of Brand Operations. This is Southern Classic Chicken. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lance.
Thanks, Lance.
Good to be here.
I am excited to have you guys. I don't think I've ever met an uninteresting person in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana has the coolest people. And so I'm waiting to hear this story. So Alex, you want to kick it off, how this whole thing came about?
Sure, yeah. I'll just start from the beginning. I'll take you to St. Croix Virgin Islands, where my parents lived. My dad was a CPA working for Hess Oil Company. And I had two older brothers, and I was on the way. So my parents, decided they needed to get back to the States for a little more family support. So my dad was trying to come up with different things he could do, different businesses he could get into, and he landed on the fried chicken was what he wanted to dive into.
I love how a CPA came up with the idea, I'm going to go back to the States and do fried chicken.
That's right. That's right. And we were from Louisiana, and chicken was, it's hot now. It was kind of beginning back then. We're talking mid 70s.
Yeah.
So he spent some time developing, recipes and coming up with a business plan. And the first location opened with his first concept whenever I was 1 month old, exactly 1 month old. So from there, he spent years, developing, growing, opening locations, and later brought in his brother, who was coming from we're in the 80s now, where his brother was in the oil business, and it went bust in the mid 80s. So he was looking for an opportunity. And that's when he joined my dad. And at the time, my oldest brother came on board, and that's where Southern Classic Chicken was founded.
I love it. And is that what you've done your whole life?
I have. So whenever I got out of college, I went straight to work for him, and been there ever since. I started, I've been around fried chicken my entire life. It's one way or another. I've helped my dad as a child working on fryers in the garage, or spending summers working in the kitchen, you name it. I've been around it entire life. And as I got out of college, I went straight to work for him. And then my cousin Alan came over as well. It's similar time frame, around 2000. So I've been in the business personally for about 24 years.
Awesome, great story. So Tom, when did you join?
I joined just about 3 years ago.
And what's your background? How'd you get into chicken? How'd you get into restaurants? How'd you get into franchising?
Well, I got into restaurants about, I guess it was over 30 years ago now. I went and did an internship at a theme park in Virginia, and the first restaurant that I ran was an ice cream stand, soft serve ice cream stand, and I got promoted to the hot dog stand. So I guess I was doing a good enough job to earn the promotion down there. Back in the day, all cash. I mean, just busy, crazy. And the thing I loved about it the most walking. I would walk down to that stand, and in the day I would have cash underneath my arms. I'd have a roster in my other hand, I guess, trying to juggle everything. And I just kind of thought to myself every day, it's like I'm going down there. It's like a game, and you're going down there, and you got your plan, you got your tools, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Is the weather going to hit? Are you going to have to react? Are you going to have to send people out, bring people in? And what equipment's going to go down, who's not going to show up, and everything. It was just very much a game, and I enjoyed the gamemanship of the entire industry, so I got into it. And I spent about 18 years in operations across, shoot, I guess about four or five brands or so. The last one being Chili's, and then the last 12 years I've been in learning HR, operations services. And then my current role
all
here,
the boring stuff.
all the boring stuff. Yeah. A little bit of everything, every hat possible.
Yeah. I love your story, the way you described really the restaurant business. And, I loved that aspect of the restaurant business. It was literally, I always talk about franchising being a team sport. Well, the restaurant business is a team sport. You never know. You just described just like, the NFL, if you will, or basketball or whatever. You don't know who's going to essentially get hurt, which we would say call in sick or the equipment breakdown.
Exactly.
There's always something. And probably because of that, in a weird way, myself being a franchise broker today, everybody thinks the restaurant business is so cool and so sexy and so fun that, and even people without experience think they can do it, like no problem, right? So guys, let's kick it off. We'll get into what Southern Classic Chicken really is or isn't, but let's dive right into, who's a successful franchisee going to be with your franchise? You just signed your first 2 franchise deals. Did they have franchise restaurant experience?
Yeah, in fact they do. Yep.
Good. And that's I'm sure something you're shooting for, ideally, because you're going to ask the question, who's going to run this place, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Ideally, you'd want someone with franchise experience, but although not, it's not mandatory, obviously. With the systems we have in place and the team we've put together, we're here to offer full support. But yeah, absolutely, it'd be nice to have some experience in the franchise.
So if someone's just a high net worth individual, made their money anywhere, not necessarily in the restaurant business, they could be a franchisee as long as they hire an appropriate individual with experience that is going to go through training and hire the team, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Need an operator for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's vitally important. Whoever is over operations, they have to have felt that grind that you feel because it's one thing, like you said, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, sometimes restaurants are sexy. I mean, even fast food can be sexy in a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
But it's work, and just like anything else, it's work. But you have to find those people that understand the grind week to week, month to month, and so on, and being able to work through that grind and understand it, and understand how to bring other people through that grind as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that in the restaurant business, unlike home service franchises, air conditioning, plumbing, handyman services, those individuals, generally speaking, they might work with one other person or 2 other people. The restaurant that's why I always say it's a team sport, because you get to work with a lot of people, front, back in the house. It's really kind of fun.
You sure do. You get different people, then you get different processes as well. I mean, typically in a typical restaurant, you have a front and you have a back. And that language, and not so much, Hispanic or English language, but just kitchen language is different than the language that you speak in the front. Right. And you literally have to be restaurant bilingual or trilingual in order to make it through and really be a well-rounded leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like a football team, though, there's a quarterback out there calling the shots, expediting.
That's right. It's funny. Yeah, you keep referring to team because we refer a lot to team members, and building the team and players. And
Love it.
We like to look at our staff as part of the team and actually refer to them as team members. So
I love it. All right, Alex. So let's get to the important stuff. Describe to everybody what Southern Classic Chicken is or isn't, because there's a lot of people obviously don't know it if they haven't been to Louisiana.
Sure. So we're actually celebrating our 35th year this year. So we're decades old, established, successful company. And we got our start with, and the hot sectors now. You mentioned chicken, but it's typically a tender or a boneless or whatever. We got our start in with bone-in fried chicken, and that's forever. That's all we did. We years ago brought in a tender and have had some success with it. It's a very good product, but at heart we're a bone-in fried chicken concept with tenders as well, and so it differs us from a lot of the kind of the hot brands or the new brands coming on. Being that we're a long time successful company and in the more bone-in sector.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of brands today seem to be focusing on a tender or a chicken finger, some sort of boneless product. And I love bone-in chicken. So I'm glad you got the classic, as the name implies.
That's right, and it's a very good product as well as our tenders as well. I think there's as good or better than anybody's out there, but and we offer some really good unique sides as well as opposed to maybe some of the chicken strip concepts. We have a number of kind of Louisiana inspired sides, flavor packed, Cajun rice, for instance. We have like a Cajun gravy on our mashed potatoes. We have several unique sides. So you're able to build a complete meal, and we offer a way to feed the family with a full meal as opposed to just like a chicken strip dinner.
That's awesome. And so the buildings themselves, are they all drive-through?
That's right. So we do have some older locations that have some dine-in, but our concept is 100% moving forward drive-through only model. It's just
people are lazy. They just want to sit in the car and they want somebody to hand them food out a window.
That's right. And a lot and those habits were really during COVID when drive-through were the only options. That's what we were already doing. So we already kind of had we were a step ahead in that drive-through only was our primary building type and focus. And so we really over the years we figured out a way to we try to serve the best food as fast as possible. And we've decided that drive-through and we have a walk-up window as well. That's really the way to go. It keeps us focused on the product. You're not having as many distractions with people dining in, and so we're able to serve as fast as possible. People come in, they get their food, and they're on their way.
Love it.
And that's really our focus.
So let's talk about construction costs or overall costs. These new franchisees, what is their expectation? From what I understand, obviously every franchise brand produces a franchise disclosure document, and in the item 7 there's some sort of range, and the construction costs are always going to vary if you get lucky and find an existing building, or whether you're building something from scratch, maybe even pulling a McDonald's move, like Ray Kroc always wanted to buy the land underneath all these things. But typically, what is the square footage of these things, and what is the average cost on building out one of these stores all in?
So that's another advantage of going with the drive-through only models. You're able to get by with a much smaller footprint. So we're looking around 1,300 square feet.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And so you're able to tremendous amount of cost savings up front on the building. You're able to go into maybe a smaller lot, although we've been trending more towards a larger, deeper lot, so we can stack cars. So we a lot of our locations do our high volume, and so we like to be able to stack as many cars as possible in the drive-through.
Yeah.
We've had problems in the past backing up down the street.
That's
so we're
such a
trying.
great problem to have, Alex.
Yes.
Such a great problem.
Absolutely, it
Causing
is.
traffic jams.
Yep.
That was my first impression when I saw the first restaurant over 3 years ago in Shreveport. I went because I wanted to go try the chicken. I'd never heard of the concept, and that's what I was met with, was a line out to the street. I'm like, well, number one, that's a long line. How am I going to get in there without getting in an accident? Number two, I hope they move through, which they did. They moved through very, very quickly. And so that was a great mark. But yeah, that's a great problem to have. Just don't tell the police that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's absolutely fantastic. So let's talk about, so you find somebody as a franchisee, and right now, as you're opening up the United States for franchising, are you focusing just in your general area near near Louisiana? You're looking at Florida, or you open it up looking to sell in all 50 states these days?
Well, currently, right now, we're trying bordering states. Essentially, we're looking into Texas, Houston, Dallas areas. We're looking into kind of South Arkansas, and then you're into really all of Mississippi, and then can bleed over into parts of Alabama.
I love it.
So we're looking to grow out. If we had the right fit that came along and somewhere outside of that region, we would listen and see what our long-term goal is to be across the South.
Yeah.
But
Great.
again, we're looking to grow out, and from Louisiana base, looking to grow out.
All right, Tom, you're the operations guru, so maybe Alex won't pay attention when I ask this question, but what is the secret? Secret seasoning, secret sauce, secret spices. What is the secret to success, and why do people just hang out in the street waiting in line for this amazing chicken?
Yeah, it's here in northern Louisiana, it is cult, and everybody knows about it. In fact, I wore this jacket into a UPS store the other day, and folks are still getting used to our new brand marks that we brought out about a year ago. So around the area, they're still getting used to it. And the lady asked me, "What's with the chicken thing?" And I said, "That's Southern Classic Chicken." She's like, "Oh," and then she went crazy. But that's the way it is. I mean, everybody knows about it here, and it's become a cult classic.
Yeah.
And yeah, these guys don't share with me what the spices are. In fact,
they'd have to kill you, right?
well, they would probably have to kill me, and there's probably hit out on me now because maybe I've dug a little bit too deep. But no, that marinate and the flavor is very, very unique. It marinates with the chicken for 24 hours before we serve it, so it gets right into the bone. In fact, when you start to peel open the chicken, you can see that marinate and that color and that hue inside, right up next to the bone. It's a beautiful thing, and you can taste it. It's unmatched. And I grew up a KFC guy, and then I turned into a Popeyes guy once I got a hold of that. And I tried this stuff, and it's the best I've ever tasted. In my humble opinion, I think it's the best out there.
I can't believe you said the P word.
Well, you gotta know you're competing with, right? And
Yeah.
hey, frankly, I could ride down the street here, and there's a Popeyes about 2 miles away, and then and a Southern Classic about another mile away from that. And I could compare it any point during the course of the day. We got more cars in line than they do, and they're moving.
Yeah. No, I think Popeyes does a good job, but I think you
They do
guys,
good.
from everything I know, having not even been at a location, based on my research, you guys are on a totally on another level. So love what you're doing.
Now, to
So
simplify it, I would say it. You start with a great product, and which we firmly believe we have the best product. And you try to, like I mentioned before, with building types, how it's evolved for speed. We put a lot of emphasis on speed. You can hear a lot of maybe other brands or whatever having long wait times with the bone-in chicken. we try to optimize for speed, get them in and out. So you start with a great product, you serve it as fast as possible and as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
We don't sell old chicken. Everything is fresh. We very limited amount of time we leave it on the rack if we are running it kind of in a slow time, and we'll waste that. So we try to always have as fresh product as possible. So start with a great product, serve it as fast as possible, and it's always going to be fresh. And
Yeah.
we really think that's, you know, and that's kind of our core to success. And
I love it. Yeah, and obviously your expansion plans, starting with contiguous states, makes it easy. It's kind of like the way In-N-Out Burger did when they were expanding from the West out. You know, it makes it easy because you have this legendary brand that people in the next state certainly would know, as opposed to you guys jumping to, you know, California tomorrow and some
Right.
people going, what the heck is this? You probably still have fans, but talk a little bit about that marketing. So if you have a great operator in Texas or Oklahoma and wants to do a bunch of locations, what is the marketing plan, you know, to make sure that these stores open with the big bang that you're seeing right now in Louisiana?
Well, I know most of our focus right now is on digital, and ensuring that we're getting into as many people's homes and feeds as we possibly can. And that was a big gap that we had even 2 years ago. And our marketing company we partner with right now is they're pros in terms of the analytics and in terms of getting in front of the people that we need to get in front of
You
to
can give them
see
a
us.
shout out if you want. Just, you know, maybe you want to keep it a
Oh,
secret.
Donnie Bell Designs out of Ruston, Louisiana. The guys are fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah, and so we've got a plan to go in and try to reach as many people. Really, we're looking within a 3 mile footprint to begin with, and then work out from there. But you know, and obviously too, I think that the best marketing that we could possibly do is to operate efficiently and create great experiences for folks, you know, for folks in a brand new market.
Yeah,
There's no better marketing than that. But
absolutely.
we do believe that again, we want to be on, you know, we want folks to know who we are. That's why an opportunity like a podcast like this with you is a great opportunity for us, because we want people to know who we are. We want people to be curious about who we are and come try, because once you do, you're going to realize that it's the best bone-in chicken that you've ever had.
Yeah, I love that. Now, let me also share something with the audience that I think is pretty important. I showcase all kinds of brands. And when I was a franchisee of Wingstop and I joined Wingstop, and they had, I think, 80 locations or so when I joined, and their disclosure document, their item 19, their earnings claim was awful. It was 600,000 was the average unit volume, and cost of goods. By the time I talked to franchisees, the cost of goods sold was 36% plus, 36 and a half or so. Terrible. So I was crazy along with other people, but we believed in that vision. So let me just tell you folks listening, if you're looking for a brand, they have now 2 franchisees of this brand. That's it. So you have the entire United States in front of you. And if the top third of locations are doing 3.9 million, holy cow. So I think this is going to be just certainly a hot brand. So I give you guys a lot of credit. Let's talk a little bit about purchasing. Purchasing is always interesting, to say the least, in the restaurant business. Obviously, if you're going to go with contiguous states, it makes it easier for your vendors, right?
that's
As
right. Yeah.
opposed to jumping 5 states and you're in a different market area or trade area. So talk a little bit about that. You're going to certainly require all the products, and you already have your specific vendors. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say, you know, jumping states. We've actually had just recently kind of preliminary conversations of what ifs, you know, what if somebody approaches from, you know, 4 states over, you know, how does that look? We've started those conversations with our vendors, and we do, we have solutions for that, for those what ifs, but you're
Love it.
right. Growing out is easier. We're able to, many of the markets we're targeting will be, service from the warehouses we pull from. So if not, we work very closely with the ones that they'll pull out of, and whether it's, New Orleans or Dallas area or you name it, or if you go, east into Mississippi, it's where we're familiar with with all of those warehouses and vendors. So you're
Awesome.
right. Yeah, growing out it makes it easier in terms of purchasing for sure.
And the biggest challenge, I think, in terms of that is the chicken itself.
Yes.
Because we don't freeze the chicken, we don't freeze the tenders, that's fresh chicken. And so it has to be handled with care. And so proximity is pretty important when it comes to those farms. So it's a challenge, but what we're finding is that there's a ton of opportunity should those opportunities arrive.
Well, and thankfully your focus is not chicken wings like it was in my past experience. Because what I learned very quickly is a chicken only has 2 wings. So it's very expensive.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up, Lance.
That's right. And you'll see, there's another advantage to franchising is we have, we have those contracts with direct contracts with our chicken vendors, and somebody just coming in trying to start up, that's it, being as hot as chicken is right now, it's hard to get your foot in the door, if not impossible to get your foot in the door with just the product. And so whether it's bone in or a tender, which is extremely hard to find, it's almost impossible to find a tender right now.
Hey, guys, let's expand on that, because you just stepped into something good. Because I was going to ask about that. What, between you guys and the family in general, where did franchising come from? The idea of franchising. You've been in business 35 years. You have all these successful 17 locations. Now you have 2 franchises coming on. Why franchise? Why not just keep it all for yourself?
That's a great question. And so you're right. And long, 35 years at the same time though, but only 17 locations. It's franchising something we've been asked, I don't know how many times over the years.
You've been approached by hundreds of people over the years.
That's right. And forever it was no. But just as just kind of the way we operate, my brother and I and my cousin, the way we've always operated, we're very hands-on. Okay, so we're in our stores a lot. Matter of fact, I was going to be in a store today, but I rearranged my schedule to speak with you, and
we thank you for that.
Thanks for having us. So it's just the way we've always operated. So we've been a very slow growth company. We've never been into rapid development, but so we saw franchising as a way to really to expand our brand, to give other people opportunities to have the success we've had, and to go into areas where where we don't have the infrastructure to develop, and so really it's just a way to expand the brand, and to offer these opportunities in areas where we probably would never go. Just due to logistics, not because we can look at markets and say that would be a home run. We could open 10 locations in that market, but short of us relocating, which we haven't shown any interest to do, that market's just kind of sitting there. So being able to offer a franchise to someone else to go into those markets is exciting, and it's a great opportunity for somebody.
And his cousin Alan even said it a few weeks ago. I remember him saying this, and I kind of noted it. He said, we did it because we wanted to bring our love for Southern Fried Chicken and get it across America. But the thing of it is that we are a family business at the end of the day. You have 3 Fanning brothers / cousins that are that make up the founding partner, foundation of it. And those guys have families and they want to stay home. They like it here. They like they like their lives here. And so they want the best of both worlds. in running a franchise model, but bringing that love to another area through the right franchisee.
Yeah. No, and look, at the end of the day, there are a lot of misconceptions about franchising, that it's these big corporations. And at the end of the day, there's something powerful about a local operation run by someone that knows that area. So whether you're in Texas or Illinois or Louisiana, there's something powerful about having a local person part of that community with skin in the game that
Yeah,
is
That's right.
running
Exactly.
that is running the business like you. Now, I don't want to get in any arguments or heated conversations about this, but we all know the history of restaurant franchises like McDonald's or Burger King, where in a lot of those big companies, in the long run, where they have a lot of corporate stores and they have even more franchisees, a lot of times the franchisees perform better than the corporation. You've heard that before, right? So
yeah,
it would be
Sure.
it would be amazing if you had franchisees that would outperform you, right? You'd be happy to have that.
absolutely.
Good problem to have.
That's right. And to outgrow us, hey, get after it.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to, so we talked about purchasing, talked a little bit about marketing. What is the game plan for who's going to support all these store openings as you start getting bigger? I mean, Tom, if you guys start, the beauty of franchising restaurants is you have a long runway. So if you signed a 3-unit deal in Fort Worth, Texas, or Dallas, or Houston, you got some time because they have to find a location, but you have enough team to support all these people?
We do. We've been adding, really, I think they started, I guess started with me
Yeah.
in terms of the head count to begin to build the foundation locally, to get us to a point where we felt that we could take the model somewhere else and really transplant it really well. But yeah, we've added, myself, we've added a head count of, I think, two more, that, specifically would support that part of the business as we grow. And even now we're fully in the process of just getting ourselves better when the franchise opportunities and when those franchise openings come. We have a relocation of a restaurant up in Arkansas that opens up, hopefully here in about 10 weeks, 10, 12 weeks or so.
Oh, nice.
So all those resources are coming to bear, to ensure that we have the right processes down and the right people in place, and the people development necessary to be able to support them in the right way. So we're as a good franchise company does, I believe, is that you have a fleet of well-run corporate restaurants to kind of lead the way and to test in and get things right in, and then you have a good team of people, backing up those franchise owners out there, because like you said, they got skin in the game. And that's what I love about the franchise world, probably the most, is that you have a ton of people, really good people out there that
Yeah.
put their livelihood on the line to buy into a business and a business idea and a mission and a vision to take it forward. So we would want to support them the right way.
We touched on this before. A lot of people I work with and talk to bring up the fact that, oh, why a franchise? Why don't I just do this myself? And I always tell people the biggest risk is trying to create anything from scratch. And if you think
Yeah.
you're just going to go out there and buy an existing chicken concept and turn it into a franchise, good luck with that.
Right.
And I always tell people at the end of the day, when you could find the right concept, and I want you guys to jump in anytime on this, you find the right concept and the right culture. You mentioned the family environment, and you have the volume, it's okay. You can afford on 3.9 million average unit volume for the top third. I think you could find some royalty money to pay to corporate. And what is corporate? Why does corporate get that royalty money? Pay the staff that's supporting these franchisees. We're all entitled to a profit, obviously, but talk a little bit about what you're really looking for in a franchisee and what you're not looking for.
Uh, we're pretty flexible. We want somebody that first truly believes in the brand. and that's dedicated.
Yeah.
Whether that's a mom and pop that's looking to do a single store, that has the resources, or it's obviously a multi-unit developer. We're anxious to work with both types, small and even small markets or in large markets. One of the things we've done, really, we got our start in smaller markets, and we're still there today. And with our lower building cost and upfront costs, you're able to go to those smaller markets,
Yeah.
more easily.
And by the way, Alex, I don't think we said it. What is it really these days to get one of these 1,300 square
Building
foot
costs.
stores
So
open?
our range is somewhere between $1 million to $1.5 million, so you're probably going to land somewhere in that middle ground. We are working. We're actually under construction right now. It's kind of a hybrid. We went down a modular road, and which is still an option. We're still looking at possibility of offering a modular option
Very cool.
in the future. But where we're at right now is we're on kind of like a hybrid modular, to where a good bit of the building is kind of constructed off site. So while your prep work, site work's being done, your building is getting constructed, still being solid construction, and then it's kind of it's disassembled, brought on site, and then erected. So once your pad's ready, your building gets on site, you're able to put up your framing and your shell within a matter of days. And so really an expedited construction process. So
Awesome.
it's one of the and also there's a good bit of cost savings there too. So we're trying to keep costs down. As you know, construction costs have just gone crazy over the last few years. So we think we can offer a really solid building in that, million to, somewhere that middle ground, $1 million to $1.5 million, somewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you got the volume to support it, and there's enough lenders, especially when you buy in the real estate, you get some great deals. And even if you're not, put down your 20% and you're in business.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, you've been great sharing a lot of great information. You're just launching your franchise system. Congratulations on the first two. So final thoughts, final words of wisdom. Tom, you go first. What are your thoughts for those looking at franchises, and whatever you want to share?
Well, I was going to say, you asked me before about secret sauce,
Oh
and
yeah, here we go.
well, no, I'm not even with secret.
Cut.
Well, it is kind of a secret that I think a lot of folks forget, and that yeah, we have that great marinate process and everything, but I think the secret sauce, I think the right answer I should have answered with, is people. And I can tell you that when I first met these guys, when I came in for my interview, my face-to-face interview with them during the pandemic, I guess the tail end of the pandemic, there were really three big reasons, I guess, why I wanted to join. And there was the product. I tasted the product, and yes, I can get behind that. There's nothing worse than working somewhere where you just don't love what you're making or putting out. The second thing was plenty of runway and kind of a blank slate for me to be creative and kind of build that foundation sort of on my own. And then the third part was very simply, like I said, the people. It was them, and there was just something about them, and I knew that I wanted to work somewhere again where I trusted the guys or gals that I worked with and I worked for. And within about a 2-hour period of time in meeting them, I knew that I had found something, and it was well worth it for me to move from Dallas-Fort Worth to Shreveport to work on that blank slate with these guys. And I think we passed that down across the brand. We have more tenured people. I'm talking about people that have been here 10 to 20 years that I can count. I think we have 2 or 3 that have been here 30 years.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
they stick around. They stick around for a reason. And again, I think it all comes down to people. That's the secret sauce.
That's awesome. Awesome. Alex, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I would say, obviously anybody looking to get into franchising, they need to do their homework. And if you when you're looking, you look at a brand that's been around, like we said, we're in our 35th year, so decades old, successful company. So the history's there. The AUVs are there. And we're just excited about offering this opportunity to people. And if you look, the markets are wide open. We're just getting into this, so there's plenty of room available, plenty of markets available. So it's really exciting, and we have a solid team. We've known as a family, we know the chicken business and how to run restaurants, and over the past few years, as we've developed this team and put these processes together, and brought Tom and other members in, we've got a great team, and now we know the processes and procedures are down and locked up and tight, and we're ready to go and to grow with future franchisees.
Well, this is super exciting, and I'm going to watch you guys closely. And in about a year, we got to do a round 2, and can't wait to hear
Absolutely.
the
All right.
Yeah.
can't wait to hear the updates. But before then, I got to get my butt to Louisiana and taste this stuff. I look forward to that. And
Let us know, Lane.
thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks, Science.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. If you're ready to talk about franchise opportunities, hit the link below to schedule a call. My services are free, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.